how Iran turned its commander's funeral into a show of force before Trump and the world imagined this scene, one that shook Iran's capital and sent a message to the entire world. Last Tuesday in the streets of Tehran, stretching from Imam Hossein Square to Azadi Square, what state media described as millions gathered to bid farewell to a commander whose identity was never officially disclosed. But the event quickly became more than a funeral. It became a show of force, unlike anything Iran had witnessed in years. The scene was extraordinary. Red flags waved across the sky, chants of death to America filled the air, and military and political leaders who had remained out of public view since the beginning of the war with the United States and Israel suddenly appeared together on the main platform. Quds Force Commander Esmail Qaani, the new Revolutionary Guard Commander Ahmad Vahidi, former President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. They all stood together under one banner. Today we tell the story of a funeral that became a strategic turning point in Iran's recent history, and how the Iranian leadership, despite devastating military strikes and months of intermittent war, succeeded in bringing millions into the streets of Tehran to deliver a clear message to Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu: we are here and we are not leaving. Come with me. What happened in Tehran was not simply a funeral, it was a demonstration of strength, a public referendum on the legitimacy of the regime. According to Reuters, organizers estimated that the procession stretching from Imam Hossein Square to Azadi Square attracted millions of participants. Although those figures cannot be independently verified, footage broadcast by state television showed an enormous sea of people filling the streets. Why such a massive turnout? Analysts believe Iran's leadership urgently needed to demonstrate that its grip on public support remains strong despite months of devastating military strikes and prolonged conflict. The war that began on February 28th brought enormous human and economic losses. Inflation reached record highs. The Strait of Hormuz was repeatedly disrupted. Yet the government wanted to prove that it still possesses a loyal base capable of mobilization and endurance. The message was unmistakable: we are here and we are not leaving. Perhaps the most striking feature of the funeral was the appearance of senior military and political leaders who had remained absent from a public view since the confrontation with the United States and Israel began. Esmail Qaani, commander of the Quds Force, appeared publicly for the first time in weeks. Qaani, widely regarded as one of Iran's most powerful military figures after the supreme leader, had disappeared from public view after the war began, fueling speculation that he had been killed or wounded. Ahmad Vahidi, the newly appointed commander of the Revolutionary Guard, also appeared. Appointed last March, Vahidi has been working to reorganize the IRGC after Israeli and American strikes targeted its senior leadership. Former President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad also appeared on stage, surprising many observers. Ahmadinejad, who in recent years had often been viewed as increasingly distant from the ruling establishment, stood alongside the leadership during one of its most difficult moments. Their collective appearance was no coincidence. It was intended to send a message: the regime remains united, and however deep internal disagreements may be, they can be set aside when confronting an external enemy. As Reuters noted, the public appearance of leaders who had remained hidden since the attacks began projected unity and institutional continuity during the post-Khamenei era. Dominating the funeral procession were countless red flags flying above the crowds. These were not ordinary flags. Within Shiite symbolism, red flags represent vengeance and unavenged blood. Historically, they symbolize the demand for justice and retaliation. Displaying them during the funeral of a military commander sent a direct message to Israel and the United States: we will not forget, we will not forgive, and we will retaliate. Protesters also chanted forcefully against President Donald Trump, reflecting a public mood that rejects surrender and views the current ceasefire as nothing more than a temporary pause. Analysts warn that this wave of nationalist emotion may become a double-edged sword. While it strengthens national unity, it could also pressure the leadership toward further military escalation if public expectations increasingly demand revenge. Another remarkable aspect was the funeral route itself. The ceremonies lasted 6 days and passed through 5 cities. They began in Tehran, then moved to the religious center of Qom, the heart of Shiite scholarship in Iran. From there, the bodies were flown by special aircraft to the holy Iraqi cities of Najaf and Karbala. Finally, they returned to Mashhad for burial. Why such an elaborate route? Analysts believe it was carefully designed to reinforce Iran's religious and political ties with regional allies while reaffirming Iranian influence across neighboring countries. Najaf and Karbala are not merely religious cities. They are also key centers of Iranian Iranian influence inside Iraq. The presence of Iranian leaders there delivered another message to Iraqis and to the wider world. Iran remains a central regional power, yet behind this enormous revolutionary display lay a far more difficult reality. Annual food inflation has exceeded 130%. The Iranian rial has fallen to record lows. Hundreds of thousands have lost their jobs because of the war and sanctions. Organizers attempted to balance revolutionary rhetoric calling for revenge with the severe economic hardship facing millions of Iranians. Municipal authorities displayed banners promising a bright future for Iran, hoping to ease domestic frustration over the enormous cost of organizing these ceremonies. This may now be the greatest challenge facing Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei. How can he preserve revolutionary enthusiasm while uniting the country, even as the economy continues to deteriorate? Let us summarize what happened. Millions filled the streets of Tehran, a powerful demonstration of strength and legitimacy. Senior military and political leaders returned to public view, a message of unity and institutional stability. Red flags and chants of "Death to America," a message of vengeance and defiance. A 6-day funeral spanning 5 cities, an effort to strengthen regional ties with allies in Iraq, and an attempt to balance revolutionary symbolism with harsh economic realities. The question now is simple: can Mojtaba Khamenei sustain this popular momentum while the economy weakens and tensions with the United States and Israel continue to rise? The answer appears to be that this funeral was not the end of one story. It was the beginning of a new strategic chapter in Iran's history, a chapter in which the regime seeks to strengthen its legitimacy while confronting enormous pressure from both within and beyond its borders. As analysts concluded, this funeral was not the end of a story, it was the beginning of a new strategic chapter. Stay tuned, the next chapter may prove to be the bloodiest yet. Write your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to receive all our new videos. See you in the next video.